Hello Steve. Hello Jill. It's time to game classy.
I'm someone I've never had a problem with a prime job ever.
Oh, I have.
I've never in my entire hobbying career, even when I first started, I never had a problem. The only problem I ever had with any sort of spray was with my Tomb Kings and matte sealant, because I sprayed it outside in the summer knowing nothing. So when I brought them in to dry, they were cloudy.
The only matte sealer that I use that I've really liked as of late is the Testers.
Testers Dull Coat. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the beginning. That's the alpha and omega.
I just wish they made it
spray.
in bigger jars in those little.
Oh, you just gotta buy 4 of them at once.
Oh God, it annoys me to no
they come in a case of 4 for a reason. You should buy 4.
I know.
Yeah, so that's the only time I ever had an issue, and it ended up not being too bad because when all was said and done, I painted over their bases again, and it ended up just looking like they were covered in dust. So it kind of worked because they were Skellebones.
Yeah,
it was just all right, that's good enough.
They're Skellebones. I mean, it's, yeah.
So it was it's like they were covered in sandy dust. I was like, sure, whatever, that's fine.
Sandy Dust was my porn name.
Oh,
yeah.
What about Dusty Sands?
Dusty Sands. So wait, these guys are the gray? Are they Army Painter gray?
Yes, that is uniform gray, I believe.
Okay, and this is like a blue.
That's Wolf gray, which is Space Wolf gray.
So why'd you do 2 different colors?
Because they're going to look different.
Oh, okay. And then the red are going to be different, of course, as well. Well, these guys are like the demon guys.
Yeah.
The demon girls, I should say. Or the demon gender neutrals, I don't know.
They're girls, and these are gentlemen. They're they're specifically gendered because the masks affect them differently.
Oh, okay.
So, example, this is a Pelagarth lady, the Fat Bottom girls.
Yeah.
They're super tough. That's their thing. They're skins thicker than rhino skin.
Ooh.
And of course they got the guts and the big butts.
Yeah.
And they're super tough. That's how the masks affect them. And then the dudes who wear the Pelagarth masks could turn into those.
Oh.
They're hulking monstrosities. They're super duper strong, but they are not tough.
No. Okay.
So they don't get the endurance, but they get the strength.
Yeah. So they complement each other.
Right. And then you have.
I don't think I have these guys yet.
No, those are new.
Yeah.
Bye. There's and then of course the Ashmen. So the thing is, I didn't want all of the army to look because I like the paint scheme that they do for them in the book.
Yeah.
But they're all gray.
Yeah.
They're the demon, the more demon-esque ones, like the ones that the masks have taken over, because these are all humans. But they have the mask. The longer you wear the mask, the more you become a monster. So this is a dude who's been wearing the mask for probably his entire life. This gigantic fucking
and he has
demon
survived.
Dude. Right. So their paint scheme looks nice. They're well painted, but they're just gray. It's just an entire army of gray.
Gray.
So I want to have I'm going to keep the they're going to be similar. These are just going to be a little more bluish gray, and these are going to be gray. Just to give it a little bit of differentiation. I want to be able to tell what things are from a distance too. Just because these right now are board game pieces. You would never mistake any of these pieces for one another, because it's that's clearly gray, that's clearly the wolf gray, and those are clearly red.
Yeah. No, I mean it works. I mean I'm not a huge fan of the undercoating of a specific color like the army color, because I know in a current army I'm working on, the person always recommends every painting guide I've seen to them, and they're not great painting guides because these guys are pretty amateurs, but they're always we use Army Painter spray for all of the first coat, and I'm
Yeah, I like it very much if you're going to have I think it's an end result plan. So these models, I am going to do really extreme highlights. They're not going to be subtle. They're going to be cartoonish.
Yeah.
So I think the more unrealistic you're going to leave your model at the end, the more it's like a Blood Angel example. I would never if I wanted to do a classic cartoonish pop of red, super red, I would prime them red.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to do a realistic, gritty, hard sci-fi red armor, I would prime them brown.
Hard sci-fi. I'm into hard sci-fi fan fiction.
Yeah. I think it's, the end result. Like, what do you want? So I want these, when these figures are done and on the table, like, I want people to look at them and see that gray, like, pop, and the space will pop. It's going to be a really distinct color.
Because
So
you won't, you don't.
But like
stop.
for historical figures, I mean, the only color I would probably ever use for historical figures is just black.
Yeah.
just always black.
Actually, what I found is actually a pretty nice color to, with
Like a gray.
No, a good base coat for like especially historical figures is brown.
Brown. Yeah.
I never really thought of that as like no one ever undercoats in brown. No one ever does, and I'm just kind of like.
I have.
It's like, I mean, I could see that with like Skelebones. That would work
that's
really well.
exactly
Yeah.
what
But I mean, like, I've never done that before, and I'm like, okay. Well, usually with like when I painted Skelebones for commission work or whatever else I did.
You did white.
No, I actually undercoated with black, but that's because I wanted it very gothic as opposed to like dusty.
Okay.
So I wanted it, like very, Lord Byron-esque, like.
Sure.
Yeah, like that, as opposed to all things. Ugh. I'm glad you're doing this hobbying. I've been dealing with my wife yelling at me about my PS3 because it's slowly dying. I've had it for 10 years, so it's like this thing is held out. But I gotta get a PS4 soon.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of good because I've been holding off on buying a PS4 because I kind of wanted to. There's been nothing that I've wanted for it except now the new Uncharted, and I really like Uncharted, so I'm kind of like.
Well, this one's supposed to be really good.
Uncharted.
Everyone is jizzing themselves over it. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's like every time I see a commercial for it, it's like Nathan Drake, like, I could have had a normal life, and I'm like, do I have to play as Nathan Drake as like a dude in his like apartment? Because if I have to do that, I don't know if I want to play it because that just sounds awful. No, it's an Indiana Jones Tomb Raider puzzle game.
As long as it's
fine.
not like the third game, we'll be good.
What, did you play the third one?
I fucking hated the third one. It was awesome and then terrible.
I've played all 3 Uncharted so far, and always the last level is just batshit stupid.
The part that I got to in 3 that made me actually just stop was where you're running across a bridge and there's like 15 guys with rocket launchers just shooting rockets at you. I was like, this is dumb.
I know that's when you're in like Tibet, right?
Yeah, it's like after you, because the game was great until you get to gunplay, and then as soon as guns start coming out in the game like nosedives.
Yeah, I could see that, especially if you're like a guy who plays FPS games. The FPS in Uncharted is terrible.
Yeah, and like the fist fights were great.
Yeah,
like like fighting the dude in the bar and like smashing him into the that's the thing. It's like the game was so good, and to have such a fucking quick just dive into terrible. I've never experienced that in a game before.
You weren't missing much because after like the Tibet stuff, like you're running through the streets of that whatever city, that like Asian like generic city,
the Asian Dawn.
Yeah,
I read about them.
Yeah, but I mean, like you're running through that part and you're like, oh, this is great. This is fun. It's not like super FPS-y, but there's like a couple times where you got to take like pot shots with pistols at guys, and you're like, this is great. And then it gets a little too into the FPS stuff where you're like fighting the terrorists in Tibet, and you're like, this is not much. And then it gets like stupid after that.
That's a shame.
Yeah, like,
but apparently that's a universal thing. Everyone agrees that the third one is the worst and the second one is the best.
Second one is fantastic.
But the fourth one, the fans of who previously claimed the second one was the best, says that it has now been superseded by the fourth.
The second one was good. The problem is like always in the last level, it's like this realistic kind of adventure thing where you're kind of going through all of these like lost cities, and you're kind of randomly fighting these dudes who are after the treasure. It's kind of Indiana Jones-ish. But then the last one is always like you're fighting Yetis in the Garden of Eden, and you're like, this is stupid.
You should get the Adventurers in the Temple of Chak.
The Temple of Chak.
And then and also the Adventurers in Atlantis. Mm-hmm. They're really good Indiana Jones style board games.
Oh, board games. Okay.
Yeah.
Might have heard. No, I was thinking of. I'm thinking of something else. High Adventure, maybe. I don't know what it's called.
I don't know, but they're real good. There's two in the line. Yeah. They're not compatible.
No.
It
doesn't really matter.
They're base games,
yeah.
But they're like one is Atlantis and the other is like a Indiana Jones style jungle temple. You should get them. They're real good.
Can I do the Indiana Jones theme while I'm playing?
Absolutely. You know what? When the time comes, you'll know. You'll know exactly when to do it. Yep. But yeah, I'm hobbying again, so I bring it back.
Huh. I know. I'm kind of impressed. Like you finished off that Kings of War army, and now you got the bug again.
Yep.
Yeah, which is funny because I'm like kind of on a downslide right now.
That's how it is.
Yeah, with a super pregnant wife, it's like all of a sudden it's like I can't. The same thing happened with my first kid. The first kid, when like about 2 or 3 months out, I kind of stopped hobbying for a while. But I didn't really have like a major game I was playing at the time, which is fine. I think I was painting a lot of fantasy stuff at that point, and like I stopped. And then the kid was born a month later. The kid was born in August, about October-ish. All of a sudden, it just hit me, and I painted like the best stuff I've ever painted in my like award-winning stuff, like stuff where I've like I look at it, I'm like, how the fuck did I paint that? I can't paint like that.
You somehow got lucky.
I don't even think it's lucky. I think it was just like, I think it was like I have to think about something other than a child.
The things came together.
Yeah, like my mind has to cut off from like it was like a mixture of sleep deprivation and like just like I can't do anything else. Like I can't play video games. I can't watch TV.
Right.
You know, it's like I have literally an hour and a half to paint. I'm going to use this to the best of my advantage.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just want to play this game. So
yeah.
I'm gonna fucking do it. And then once these are done, it'll be on to I'm gonna try. I think when I'm done with these, I think I'm gonna do my smorgasbord. So I'm gonna do like the.
You're gonna make a tray of meats and cheeses.
Well, sort of, but miniatures.
Ooh.
I'm gonna do the extra stuff. That's not a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna do my Merc stuff, my Arena Rex, my I have a couple Gundam kits.
Ooh, Gundam kits.
Yeah, I'm gonna put those in there, and I'm just gonna do like kind of a mix of just things, and probably throw my Dark Age in there too because there's only like 12 models. So I'm just going to do all of my things that have a small model count, and I'm going to do them all at once. Because, this is a whole army, and I just did an army. So this way I'll do like something that's going to really break it up. And then after that's done, it's Lord of the Rings time.
Ooh. You know what? I totally forgot to bring my Lord of the Rings stuff. I kind of wanted to bring it here to show you just what I had. And I have it packed up, and I was like, I was leaving my house today. I was already out, and I'm like, fuck. God damn it.
Next time.
Yeah. It's I think there's some stuff in there that's worth a decent amount. I don't know. I may never play that game. So you actually, out of all of the miniatures that I have, you probably have like the best ability to talk me out of to talk me into selling those models out of any other game that I have.
Excellent.
Maybe Clan War, just because I have so much.
I would not. I'll leave you the Clan War.
Or Confrontation. I have a lot of that too, but even then, it's like meh. I don't know.
You got to keep it. Is it all sorted too?
It's all completely sorted. All completely sorted. It was so bad. Like
awesome.
I actually had like those big monster-sized totes that they sell,
Yeah.
like the big deep like couple gallon-sized ones,
Sure.
filled with blisters, like just blisters.
I had that for Privateer for a little while.
Yeah, so what I ended up doing is I was like, fuck it. I opened them all up. I took all the metal, sorted them into... I use VHS cases because you could find them super cheap, the plastic ones, see-through ones. And so I buy them at like 10 cents a case. And so I use those to sort my figures, so now they stack really easily. So it's
That's great.
I'm insane. What can I say?
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, you go to my house. It looks like an old video store, just like with all the cases that are lined up.
You should get a UPC scanner and just print out your UPC codes and actually like get a digitized system, so you can just walk by and go boop 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 boop. You can scan it.
You don't know what you're talking about there.
You can get a hand scanner.
I know.
You can get a hand scanner, print it out, stick them on there, and you can actually just go. You could organize past the point of where you are now because you could just go, what's in here, and you can go boop boop. And it's like, oh, that's what's in there.
Oh, that would be ridiculous. But I like where your head is.
Hey.
I like where your head is. Yeah, well. All right. So welcome to Comic Book
You've broken. It's
I
over.
have. Is X-Men out this weekend? Is this the Age of the Apocalypse weekend?
I don't know.
It might be. I think I got to go see that.
X-Men.
Yeah, or maybe it comes out next. I don't know. I don't really care.
I don't know.
That movie looks like garbage.
I still haven't seen the Captain America.
It's pretty good. It's not. It's like it's definitely an A-level movie. I just don't know how I feel about it. Because it's something completely different than anything you've ever seen in a comic book movie.
I feel that there's too many goddamn fucking comic book movies.
Well, I mean, the weird thing, but we are getting a Big Willie weekend this summer.
It's true. Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to see that.
You're excited about that.
I'm excited. Dude, I'm excited to have Big Willie weekend again.
Yeah,
that's
except it's in August, so it's not your July 4th Big Willie.
It's true,
weekend.
but it's still Big Willie weekend.
Yes.
So like, I get to go into the theater going Big Willie weekend, Big Willie weekend.
Yeah. I always kind of hated the X-Men movies, like ever since probably
the only one that was decent was the second one.
Yeah, X-Men X2.
Yeah, like the other ones have all been, well, obviously the third one was really bad.
Yeah, well, I mean that's where it started. Like you're like, and then they had like the
third one was just objectively bad. It was just a bad movie.
There was not a lot.
Like Vinnie Jones as the Juggernaut was terrible.
Well,
like,
yeah, because they used an internet meme from.
You know what? You could have gotten that internet meme. You could have used that in an amazing way, but because it was like
Vinnie Jones
and the way the character was being presented, like the Juggernaut does not work as a dude in a suit. The Juggernaut's a CG character, period. Because the Juggernaut is the size of the Hulk. His fucking hands are like there's plenty of panels where, he punches Wolverine, and Wolverine's like the size of his fist.
Yeah.
Juggernaut's huge.
He's a massive dude. Yeah.
Right,
No,
so,
I completely understand that.
Yeah, and he grabs someone and hits them with another. He grabs a person and hits a person with that person.
Yeah, I mean, they could have even made him a mutant and not have to worry about the Sidorak crystal or any of that nonsense.
Yeah, if you want to get rid of the Sidorak crystal, that's fine. You can call him a mutant, because I think the modern version of the Juggernaut is a mutant.
Yeah.
But even then, like, he's fucking huge. Like, that's the Juggernaut's deal. And you could have done that. Like, they could have done it, and they could have used the meme, and it would have been funny. But the movie was already falling apart at that point.
Yeah.
It just, what a disaster. But, I think they just didn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah,
they were like, we got to make another X-Men movie because we got to keep making money, but what do we do with it? Yeah. And the guy's just like, Juggernaut, bitch, use Vinnie Jones. He's kind of popular because Vinnie Jones was in a bunch of movies around that time.
Yeah,
he was in that was
Snatch.
I think, Snatch, and then Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels was big. Like it came out already, but it was big because of Snatch.
Yeah,
and then he was in there was that Soccer Hooligans movie. Like he did a bunch of British films.
Euro Trip? Are you talking about?
Not Euro Trip, but he's also in Euro Trip. He is a soccer hooligan in Euro Trip.
My baby takes the morning train. He works till 9 to 5, and then he takes another home again to watch the Manchester United football team.
That's a great movie, actually. The Euro Trip, Road Trip, and Not Another Teen Movie are the three comedy films that I thought were just going to be total garbo.
Yeah.
And when I actually watched them, I laughed my ass off. Like, wow, this is really funny.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Road Trip, but I will agree with you. Like one of my favorite triple features was one time I was really, really, really sick, and I was on the weekend, and my wife, who was then my girlfriend at the time, we stayed home and we watched Not Another Teen Movie.
That movie's so good.
Bring It On, and
it's already been brought it.
Yeah, Bring It On, and what was the other one? It was the one with the beauty pageants, the one in Minnesota. I can't think of the name of it now.
Beauty pageants, Minnesota.
But anyway, I watched those three all at once, and I was just like, this is great. I have nothing else to do with this one. But yeah, the X-Men movies, I've never... The only one I've liked since the second one is I like Days of Future Past a little bit.
I didn't see Days of Future Past. I thought First Class was half of a great movie.
Oh yeah, well every movie is exactly the same. It's like the biggest problem with the X-Men movies, and this is a preview for those who listen to Comic Book Logic, is I'm gonna have the same rant. Is that every single one of them is exactly the same way. It's like starts off awesome, like the first half of the movie is fantastic, and then the last half of the movie is awful CGI mutant battles, and it's like they always are just like, well, we're gonna take all of these mutants who have these really great backstories, and we're gonna ruin them by just having them be goons. Every single one of them is exactly the same. Like, that's what bothered me with First Class, was it was just, like, we already know who the X-Men First Class is. It's Cyclops, it's
Iceman.
Jean Grey, Iceman, Angel, and Beast. Yeah. That's it. You don't have to have any more than that. And they brought in all these, lame-ass mutants to do...
And Darwin, he seemed made up. I don't think he's from actually...
He is in there, but he's not that same thing. But they just use it. That's all they do is, Fox has no...
Yeah, if they're going to use random esoteric mutants, they should use Maggot or somebody cool.
Maggot is cool.
That was the joke.
Oh, okay, good. No, but I mean...
I hate the X-Men, dude. I think the X-Men are is the worst Marvel comic. But
the thing, it wasn't
so
always.
bad.
It was actually really cool and fun. But they seriously, Fox ruined that franchise completely. And when I say they ruined it, they even, because comic books have this tendency to reflect the movies more. Like when '89 Batman came out, all of a sudden Batman was wearing this black armor suit, and he was By the way, did you see the concept art for Batman 89?
I don't think so.
Because they did. I don't know. I know you don't read comics that much, but they did this series called Batman 66, which was all in the style of the 1966 Batman. Adam West.
That's awesome.
So all the villains, everything was drawn just like the TV show.
Cool.
So then they did a Wonder Woman 72. I don't remember the exact name of it, which is all based off that TV show as well. Did pretty well. They were in the works to do Batman 89, which was going to be completely styled off. The artwork was going to be completely styled off the Tim Burton verse.
Okay.
So they were going to bring in all of these characters who they were Two-Face was going to be Billy D. Williams,
right? Of course,
and with the Two-Face,
as it should be.
Yeah, and they were going to do. I think that one girl who gets her face melted off by the Joker, the mall, whatever her name is. She was going to be Harley Quinn, and they were going to do. I think they wanted to do what's her face? Gina Davis was going to be Poison Ivy. They were going to use her likeness for Poison Ivy. It looked so cool, but they never went through with it. But they posted the concept art. I was a big fan.
That would have been sweet.
I know, whatever. But anyway, X-Men's bullshit.
X-Men.
They should just do an X-Men video game, the movie.
They should.
And it's just a live stream of people
Welcome to die.
Welcome to die.
Yeah, it's fucking good.
Nothing can move the blob.
Yep. Wendigo. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh, that game is. That's the one game I'd have if I have an arcade cabinet in my house.
The 6-man.
The 6-man. Oh yeah, the big one.
Yeah,
you got to do the 6-man. I also like the Turtles one, but the X-Men one was
Turtles only has 4 players,
but it's infinitely. The X-Men is infinitely superior.
Oh yeah.
And it's just because such certain characters are so
and surprisingly, the Simpsons beat 'em up is great.
Oh yeah, that one's a good one too. Yeah. It's the bigger problem with the Simpsons one is I think that the LCD screen, not LCD, whatever the screen that they used for the Simpsons cabinets was always a really piss poor quality, so the colors went out on them really quickly.
Yeah.
And that game's very visual, so you need nice colors.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
that one.
well, if you're doing a cabinet, you could do your own. You could use
That's
your
true.
own
You could,
monitors.
but that was a common issue with that.
Sure.
Anyway, welcome to Game Classy. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Steve. 20 minutes into the
Welcome
podcast.
to Comics and Video Games Cast.
Well, we don't have much to talk about. I only have one thing really I need to talk about, and that's Warhammer Quest. What is it called? The Silver Tower?
The Silver Tower.
This is
Those fucking goblins are the worst thing ever. They're so fucking bad.
Okay, so this is going to be my in-depth review of Warhammer Quest: The Silver Tower. The game is bullshit. Okay, let's just put it that way. How do you have you played it? Have you looked at it, played it, anything like that?
It looked terrible.
Yeah,
the models are cool. I really like the Zinch guys.
Okay. So let's go into a little bit of history of Warhammer Quest.
Oh, is it a good version of Warhammer Quest?
No, not at all.
No, it's terrible.
So Warhammer Quest was essentially an original dungeon crawler, kind of. You go through the different dungeons. You'd lay down little cardboard tunnels and dungeon rooms and everything like that. And the dungeon master, or if you're playing without a dungeon master, there would be random spawning of enemies. Mm-hmm. You fight the enemies, you get treasure. You could open up new tunnel and you open up new entries and things like that through as you're playing it. It's nothing new. It's a standard dungeon crawler. It's been forever. But what was great about the Warhammer Quest one was that it fit into the world. There was nothing weird about it. It was just a standard dungeon. There was goblins.
It was a quest that was happening in the Warhammer world.
Yeah, there was Skelebones. There was I think there was a Minotaur, an ogre. There was lots of cool stuff in there. You got a shit ton of figures in there. A couple unique ones that that were pretty cool sculpts and things like that. And you could buy little expansion packs with characters in it. So GW in a bid to gain nostalgia puts out another Warhammer Quest. That's great. Everyone was excited about this. You get, first of all, the tunnel cards, the cardboard things that you have on there are almost indecipherable. You can't tell what the fuck you're walking on. It's all sparkly and kind of Zinchy, which I guess would be fine if it was an expansion. But this should have been a standard dungeon.
Well, it's supposed to be so Warhammer's now, especially when you talk about branch off games, because they shit all over their lore.
Yeah, their IP.
They diarrhea it all over it to make it more trademarkable. The concept conceptually it's actually awesome. Like the idea is really cool, and it's great that it looks weird because they're inside a Silver Tower of Tzeentch.
Yeah.
Which is from I think it was in War Master.
Well, no,
not War Master.
Man of War.
Man of War. And like the Silver Towers were
have one.
yeah, like the Silver Towers of Tzeentch were these weird non-Euclidean spaces where like all sorts of bizarre shit happens. And like that was what the thing is. So like it's a group of adventurers going through a Silver Tower. Conceptually, that's super smart. It's like, wow, that's really cool. Like that's a very interesting design space, and you could do weird stuff.
Okay, I'll hand you that, but I think that would have worked better for an expansion. I kind of feel like it doesn't feel like a dungeon.
I mean, the fact that there are fucking spider goblins in there for no other reason than the fact that they made those models. That's I think the bard, master of the game. My
bard is a flamenco dancer. He's a flamenco player.
So he mentioned on his unboxing of the Assassinario Exucarium or whatever the fuck it was.
A shitatorium.
Yeah. Shitatorium. You know, the one where they made
the vomitorium. There, how would we call that?
The vomitorium. How they made the new Assassin minis. And the game was a vessel to sell the minis.
Yeah.
The minis didn't sell the game. So you know that the game was not designed to be a game.
Yeah.
It was designed to just pawn these minis off on people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
it was actually a good deal.
And I think that's what the Silver Tower is. It's they had these models in the works, and they didn't find a good fit for them for trying to sell individually in box. So they're just like, I guess we'll just stick the sprues in this box and sell it that way.
That could be, but they put a lot of effort into it. I mean,
if they're grabbing sprues, I mean, I haven't seen how the sprues are laid out.
Yeah.
But like, if they just grab the sprues and instead of putting them in a box of spider goblins for Age of Sigmar, they can just throw them in this box Silver Tower and be like, oh, you go.
I don't think I've actually seen the sprues because I've seen all the models and I've taken a look at them.
Yeah. Now, if the sprues are laid out in a certain way where like the goblins are on the same sprues as the Tzeentch dudes,
yeah, I think
then you got me.
Not necessarily because of the way that they do the minis now. They actually design them in the computer, and so when they print them out in the sprue,
they can just drag them where they want.
Yeah, they can drag them where they want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seemed.
This isn't old school, Steve. This is like
right.
Ali Morrison is not sitting there sculpting a spider goblin, and then they take it to the mastery. No, that doesn't happen anymore.
But overall, the models I thought were pretty cool. Like the little familiar guys were neat. The Tzeentch dudes were cool. Like they were very Realm of Chaos. Like very.
It's too stylized for me. Too stylized.
Well, I mean, it's just you don't like the current.
No,
I mean, and a lot of people
like
don't like the current GW style. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it either, but it's because it's all CAD.
Yeah.
There's no one. It's not the fact that it is CAD because I've seen plenty of like the Malafox stuff is all CAD and they have some good looking models, but the GW ones have like a very distinct look. Like the orcs are a great example. They're like chunky, like the orc, the wyvern, like his like jaw is like straight lines.
Yeah,
like things that should be rounded are like sharp corners.
Yeah,
and that's their CAD issue, and that like all of the workshop figures have that. Like they all have that. Like, oh, this is a CAD model.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then so let's just get into the models. I mean, the models are fine, but it's just like they're so weirdly designed. They don't feel GW. Like you said, the spider goblins. It's like, what the hell is this? How am I gonna even fucking paint this model? Because half of it is under like a canopy, and it's just like, how do I get in there to paint? Do I just like, what's going on? How would I paint this? This doesn't make any sense.
Well, they're also terrible looking.
Oh, they're awful looking.
Yeah, they're awful. They're like I said, they're. You
should have a spider writing on them.
Yeah, a spider on their back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're conceptually the worst GW models ever. Conceptually. Because someone pointed out the dragon. I think it was James probably pointed out the dragon plane being really shitty for chaos. And while I agree that model is really bad, conceptually a demon possessed plane that's kind of morphing into a dragon is fucking sweet. If you do it right, if you do that as like a cool like hat, like how the Soul Grinder is, like if they did that, but it was a dragon, but also a plane, that'd be fucking cool.
Yeah. Like, I don't really have a huge problem with that model in general.
I hate the fucking dragon plane.
Well, I hate all of the stupid chaos gilding that they do on it.
Yeah,
that's always bothered me, especially because like the Forge World chaos planes are so fucking badass looking.
Yeah.
But aside, I'm not a huge 40K fan to begin with. Like I always think that the models are pretty piss poor in 40K. But yeah, the model, the entire box set is just kind of nonsense for $150. Like that.
I thought it was 180.
Well, 180. Okay, so fine. Maybe it's 100. Like, how much is it Australian? $684 reduced.
I assume that's about right.
Yeah. I think it's probably.
No,
is.
did you play it? Have you?
No, but I watched some people playing it.
Okay.
So that'll be the.
Yeah, because the thing about like the spaces don't look like they make any sense. Like obviously on the board.
Yeah.
But is it like a moving between rooms thing, or you actually have to count spaces on the board? That's the real.
I mean, the old your movement was based on spaces in the old game too.
Oh, I'm sure this is nothing like the old game. This game is from what I look like. I haven't played it, but I looked at how the war scrolls are laid out and whatnot, and it seems like this board game is compatible with Sigmar.
Yeah.
So I think this is a vessel to sell you more Sigmar models, because you can go, oh, I'm going to grab this stuff and put it in this game. So if that's the rule set, I think the rule set for Sigmar.
Yeah, but then you'd have to have people playing Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. I think the rule set for Sigmar, like I've said it before, I don't think the rules are actually that bad. The stupid beard shit is dumb. Obviously, but the lack of points, which has been, rectum fried. But I think it works for what Age of Sigmar is, and Age of Sigmar is supposed to be hey, I got these 4 models and these 3 models. You want to play? And like you could be like, yeah, sure. Like that, like as that idea, Age of Sigmar is perfectly executed.
I have my Sigmarites that are painted with a chunky bronze.
Yes, sure. Like that's the thing. Like with the way Age of Sigmar is designed, it's designed to be a game where, a couple little kids, even at Games Workshop prices, a couple little kids could get into it and play.
Yeah,
and have fun doing it, and that's great. And it's complete anathema to the Warhammer Fantasy players, because they're sitting there with 300 models, like, where the fuck are my blocks? So like, that's not a game. The game's not for them. No. Like Games Workshop quietly discontinued you.
Yeah,
you just don't know that. That's what, and like they're trying, and a lot of people who had giant fantasy armies who are sticking out with Sigmar, which there are a few, they're trying very desperately to square peg the round hole.
Yeah.
And I think that rule set is great for what that is, of just like grab some random stuff, throw it down, play. And I think it's great. Like, I mean, if I knew anyone playing Age of Sigmar, I'd grab a couple models. Like the chaos stuff from the starter set's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So like I'd grab a few and just like play some games with them, but nobody I know is interested, because it's super simple. It's like, if you want that simplistic gameplay, like, and you want the blocked movement, play Kings of War. Like, that's what Kings of War, like, Age of Sigmar is basically their answer to the other games in the marketplace, by taking the simplicity of Kings of War and games like Kings of War, which are, dumbed down Warhammer 6th edition, and sticking it with the movement rules of 40K and War Machine.
Yeah.
So you've got, you stick those things together, you shake them out, you get Age of Sigmar. It's a super simple, super easy game. The stat lines are super small. All of the rules are self-contained.
Yeah. I think that's like the biggest problem right there, and I blame millennials. That's basically what I do. Millennials and like baby boomers. Those are the people that I blame for everything.
Just both?
Yeah.
Okay. You're a millennial, right?
No, I'm a Gen Xer.
I don't think so.
Yeah. My birthday's still in the Gen X
okay.
window.
Okay, so you just blame anyone who's not in your generation.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Even though millennials would be the smallest demographic of people buying Games Workshop models.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Okay. No, it's actually kind of funny, because like millennials, I've had this conversation with like some people as of recent, a couple people who are a little younger than I am, like in their late 20s. It was about Teen Titans Go. I love that cartoon. I think it's fantastic, and my daughter loves it. And they're like, yeah, but I really like I wish they kept that old Teen Titans show on. I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, it was great. I'm like, but they're not. You're not their target demographic. Their target demographic are like little kids, like my kid.
Right. It's over. It's had its time.
It's over. Don't worry about it.
I gotta disagree with you on the minis, though. Like, I really like the minis in the in Silver Tower. I mean, look at this. Like, these guys are cool. Like, they're perfect Chaos Marauders they're perfect Tzeentch Chaos Marauders. Like, that is perfection in Tzeentch Chaos Marauders.
I don't like those helmets, though. It doesn't fit any of the previous IP.
That's Tzeentch. That's the thing. I think it does fit the IP, but they never released Tzeentch models for fucking fantasy ever.
No, you're right on that.
Like
but
there's I think the only specific Tzeentch models they've ever done are demons, and they had the Chaos Sorcerer.
I just wish that maybe if they were a little more like Egyptian-y. Instead, they kind of look
Well,
like
they're supposed to be stylized Egyptians. They look like Thousand Suns. They look like, and that's the aesthetic that they go for Tzeentch. And then they have the mutated ones that kind of look like.
Yeah, see, I don't like these either.
I think those are.
They're supposed to look like horrors.
No, those are. I think those are chosen that are mutated to look like the.
Yeah, but they're starting.
The Lord of Change.
Yeah, they kind of look a little bit like.
They have bird features, so
Yeah.
they're looking like the Lord of Change.
But they got kind of like
the
horror.
little familiars are great.
I do like the familiars. I'll give you the familiars.
those are
familiars are always fun models to have.
Those are
regardless.
classic. I love the book with legs.
Yeah,
that's my fucking favorite thing.
That's old school fantasy. Those familiars are old school. That's why I like them.
And the horrors work. I mean, they look like
the
horrors.
Yeah, those are fine.
Like the horrors.
I like that's.
But the goblins are atrocious. The goblins are terrible.
And I don't like the hero models either. Really.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really pay attention to the hero. The hero models are kind of like, eh. Yeah, they put a fucking Sigmarine in there, and like the Tzeentch Sorcerer is really cool looking.
I mean, he's fine. He's fine. I have no problem really with him. He looks like a Tzeentch Sorcerer.
Yeah. But
I'm talking like those Marauders, and like I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, they're like a weird stylized Egyptian Tzeentch thing. I mean, I think they're very functional and they're very cool at what they're doing. But is it gonna end of the day? Is it gonna make me buy this game?
No, not at all. Not for $180.
Yeah, no, that price.
Even at $150, it's a little
price
too high.
is just too high. And you know, I know the game's not going to be deep. Like, I mean, if I want this experience, I would track down the old Warhammer Quest, or I would just grab Talisman, which is currently in print.
The newer Talisman.
Yeah, the Fantasy Flight Talisman.
The Fantasy Flight Talisman.
Yeah, I would just do that.
Or Descent. Descent is essentially.
Yeah, Descent as well. You know, because I mean,
well, Talisman is not really like Warhammer Quest. It's.
Well, I mean, if I want a dungeoning game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little dungeon. It's a little more abstract. But
yes,
like,
Talisman's a lot about the like overall adventure.
Yeah.
Talisman's more like an RPG in a box, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you want like a good dungeon crawl that's currently in print, go with Descent. You
Yeah.
might as well fucking. It's the better version of it, and there's like a billion other
for current games. Yes.
Yeah, and there's a billion. What's it called?
Expansions.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of
and
expansions.
even the fourth D&D stuff is not bad. Their dungeon crawls are actually pretty fun.
Oh yeah, because their game system works great for
mini games.
Yeah, that the fourth edition. That's the thing. Like I shit all over fourth edition for being a terrible role playing game because it is a terrible role playing game, but it's actually a pretty good game.
Yeah,
like that's the thing that was really funny is like I think they finally made one game in fourth edition, but the thing that was always like super hilarious to me is that the video game edition of D&D was fourth. That was the one that was made like a video game.
Yeah,
and it had like no video games made for it.
Yeah, that's true. Because it was designed to be an MMO.
Right. Like it had fucking dailies. It had it had cooldowns. Like it was a fucking MMO on a tabletop. You know.
Yeah.
So
and everything was designed around like it spawns like 3 goblins, and you know your party goes and takes on the 3 goblins,
and you needed to have the triangle of tank, DPS, and heals, and you needed like the caster that could do like AOEs because then minions would come out. And there's like 9 minions, and they all have 1 HP.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the guy to go like AOE and like take them all out with 1 damage, you get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It's a fucking video game.
It is.
So and I hated that from the standpoint of it being an RPG.
Yeah.
But from being like a game, it's great.
Yeah.
It's totally functional.
Yeah, and the fourth ed stuff, like the Ravenloft, Castle Ravenloft, and
Wrath of Ashardalon.
Wrath of Ashardalon was the only one I didn't like.
Legend of Drizzt.
The Legend of Drizzt actually ended up being pretty cool.
And then they did the...
that was the only 3 of the dungeon crawls.
They did the Underdark, the one the Guild Force 9 made. It's still the 4th edition one as far as I know.
Oh, is it? But I didn't know they released that one.
Yeah. That their Gale Force 9's doing all the D&D board games now. It's not Wizards anymore. Wizards only did the 3.
Yeah.
And then the newest one is the... I think it's Champions of the Underdark or something, but it's the adventure game system. Yeah. But it's
Can I play Drizzt?
Well, if you have Legend of Drizzt, you sure can. Yes, he's in there. Yeah, you can be Drizzt Steward, and you can have sex with your panther spirit or whatever it is.
Don't talk bad about having sex with my panther spirit.
I wasn't talking about. I said you could. There was nothing. There was nothing.
You kind of said
negative,
it with. You said it with like a.
You can slam that panther pussy all you want. Okay.
I think that would be the name of this podcast. Slam that panther pussy. See if that gets put up on Tabletop Gaming News.
Just do $signs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's
Push it.
push it real good. That's the thing, you know, straight up though, like IRL, some dude bang a panther and doesn't die, like I would not press charges against that guy.
Or like a bear as well.
Yeah, like you fuck a super dangerous animal and like don't get killed, I think you're good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's the scale down level. You kind of get like what about an ocelot? They're not really that big.
It's got to be dangerous to humans. Dangerous.
Well, ocelot could be dangerous to humans, but
I mean, that's I don't think an ocelot's gonna kill you. It's gonna hurt you, but not kill you.
like a puma, yes.
That'll fucking murder the shit out of you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like a bear also will murder the shit out of you.
Yeah, I mean, there's some but a porcupine is also dangerous.
That sounds like that. You know what? That's truly the most dangerous game. It's not hunting man. It's trying to fuck a porcupine. Like, all right, you got to do it. You can't get any spikes in your dick.
Well, I mean, you could, but
that's disqualification.
Well, I mean, there's no disqualification. You just have to have sex. I mean, you can hurt yourself.
You just got to hang in there.
I mean, like, if you try to have sex with a panther, you're going to hurt yourself.
Most likely.
He will get a couple swipes in. I'm not going to lie.
Might kill you.
Yeah, he might kill you.
Probably will kill you.
Yeah. I will give that a 98% possibility of you getting killed trying to have sex with a dangerous animal.
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
I mean, it probably would actually be safer for a bear because
now, see, this is
the bear probably wouldn't even know that it's happening.
This is a reality show that we could pitch. I think the History Channel or Discovery are now slummy enough to actually go like, all right.
I still want to do the show of a man versus shark, but like the man's it's like
a fist fight.
Yeah, like a fist fight, but the man's in like it's waist deep water.
Oh, okay.
So both of them have somewhat of an advantage. Like a shark can't get down, but it's also could swim really fast. But a man also can, you have a little bit of maneuverability. You're not hampered by the water too much.
I think the man loses.
I would give the man a knife at least, just a knife.
Yeah, I think he still loses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think a man stands a chance.
I mean, it depends
on the type of shark.
Well, and also we're talking like he might win. He might have a posthumous victory. Like I think there's because humans are, interestingly enough, for as fragile as humans are, we're actually one of the most robusto animals on the planet.
We have very high survivability rates.
Right, we're like things that kill horses.
We can also run for an extremely fast for extremely long amount of time.
Yeah, and our ability to just stay awake and just like keep moving. Yeah. That's pretty unique actually, because their anthropologists are talking about they're uncovering evidence of our ancestors doing something called exhaustion predation.
Yeah.
Which is you, me, and 4 other guys with our weapons find a pack of animals, right? Mm-hmm. And we start walking towards them, and we just follow them.
Until they exhaust.
And we just keep following one of them until it just drops. And we follow it day and night, and it just drops, and we kill it and eat it. Like that's a thing apparently we used to do, and that's why our bodies can do things like run marathons and like last really long. But we don't
play World of Warcraft for 3 days straight.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But we don't.
I should say StarCraft. That's the one that generally kills people.
Yes, but we don't have the ability to run 80 miles an hour or like make these giant leaps. We're just like. We're robust. That's what people have. They have like endurance and stamina.
We used to be.
Well, yeah. We still can be.
We could get back there.
Yeah.
It's just you have to take away internet and like
you have to take away everything that makes life worth living.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to take away everything good about everything that is good in life. You must take away.
Yeah.
You can't crush your enemies. You can't hear the lamentations of their women.
Well, that's what it'll go back to is crushing your enemies, hearing the lamentations of the women. Yeah.
So and like a horse, like if a horse breaks his leg, it's dead.
Yeah.
Like the horse is dead. You break your leg, you can fucking heal it. Even on your own, you can fucking pop it back into place and heal.
You have to have a healer in your party though.
It's true. So I
need a heal.
I think a fight like that, like a waist deep water, a shark, a dude with a knife and a shark, will probably lead to like he could probably get like a critical blow on the shark that would lead to the shark dying. But I believe the shark would also be able to kill him faster.
I mean, I think that the man, if like the shark was coming at him, right, coming at him really good, and he's sitting there, it's like waist deep water kind of. Let's say it's a tiger shark, right? Like, I'm not gonna say a great white because that's just not fair. Let's say it's a tiger shark's coming at him. He's got the knife. Let's say it's like a standard, what do you say?
Bowie knife.
6-inch, 8-inch?
Just do Bowie knife.
Okay, Bowie knife.
That's a really good standard.
That's a big knife.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he makes it even better. So shark comes at him. Like, if he's able to get like a good jab in right off the start, right? And he's able to move out of the way and like get on the shark's back and just stab it, I think he could do it.
Maybe, but I mean, then the shark could also that the other issue
the shark's
is,
skin will cut him,
right?
But, yeah,
and also the shark can bite him right. I think it's going to be a matter of who catches who just right. Because if the shark goes for his leg, which is the most natural spot, if he hits his carotid, it's over.
It's true. I mean, like there are a couple things like
there's artery. That's the thing. Like that's why
you could sever a carotid artery playing paintball,
right?
You know?
Yeah, there's all sorts of like the dice rolling would be intense.
Yeah, I mean it would be. I mean a critical failure is always a possibility, but that's why you'd watch it.
Yeah, well, yeah, you never know.
Yeah, I mean we kill like how many sharks a day? We kill like 1,000 sharks a day. I think is what the tally is.
Unnecessarily,
completely unnecessarily. So I mean, we'll give the sharks a chance to fight back. That's what it would be.
Dun, 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 dun. Now, if it was Conan would beat the shark.
Yeah, Conan would take the shark and beat the shark with another shark.
He might actually befriend the shark and then ride the shark.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. I was at the
Broadsword.
I was at the Brookfield Zoo the other day, and I was looking at like just the different types of animals, and I'm like, look at these lazy ass animals. I could defeat these animals in combat. It's like they have bison now at the Brookfield Zoo, like this big bison habitat, and I live literally 2 minutes away from actual bison. I can go see bison from outside my house, and I'm just like, I would ride a bison as an epic mount,
dude. There used to be a lot of bison in the United States.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, and that's another thing too. Is like I was reading there, and they were like, "We want to bring the bison back," and then there was like a counterpoint argument of like, "We bring the bison back. What do they do? Like we brought it back, but for what?"
you can't really bring the bison back the way they were, because there were millions and millions of bison that moved in giant herds, and you could bring them back. You could bring their population's booming basically in comparison to what it was. They're no longer endangered. I think they're threatened. I don't even know if they're threatened anymore, but like they're bouncing back quite easily, because we aren't currently at war with Native Americans.
Well, you're not.
Well, right. Okay. Most of the white man is not trying
There's
to.
There's a Cree settlement outside my house that's been giving me problems.
Yeah. Well, then maybe you need to go and kill some bison. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that like one of the reasons like the bison were hunted to almost extinction was to deprive the Native Americans of their major food source, clothing source, shelter source, weapon source, literally everything. like just, and that's why if you study any of Western American history, which why would you? Because it's who cares? But some
people like cowboys.
Yeah, okay,
it's not as popular as it used to be.
I actually had a discussion about it. I think history is like a weird thing, because I think it's cool. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's cool about it, but it's like being a historian seems like the stupidest.
I would agree, because the only thing that a historian really does is someone goes like, "Huh, I wonder how cowboys did this," and this guy goes, "I know how they did it." Like,
well, or they're just doing it for the ultimate. Well, actually, Well, actually, the cowboys. If you can hear about like they used to just shoot bison from the train, like while they're like riding the train, they'll just fucking shoot them.
That sounds awesome.
Just shoot them, just leave them.
Well, yeah, because there's the person was talking about. How most bison nowadays are actually a combination of bison and cow.
Beefalo.
Their gene pool has been kind of muddied by cows, but they actually found like a pure bison herd in I think Yellowstone or something like that that's not corrupted by any of that.
Bison's got big dicks.
Do they?
Yeah.
Have you ever eaten one?
I have not.
Okay.
I would not eat a dick.
Then you would not. I don't know. I don't know. Last time we
and I wouldn't even need a dick because of the like ew ooginess. I wouldn't need a dick because that's just fucking rude. Like that is straight up rude. Like you fucking killed this thing. You're eating it, and you gotta fucking give him the one last indignity of eating his fucking Johnson.
No, because you know what? If I got killed to be eaten,
I want them to bury my dick.
No,
they can eat all of me.
I want them to eat my dick.
I want them to eat all of me except my dick and balls.
I want to be
bury
there,
that shit.
I want to be sitting there like fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi in Ghost Jedi mode,
and just like nodding as they're eating your dick.
Yeah, eat my dick. Eat it. Go ahead. Choke on it. Choke on my dick. It goes down so smooth. I would ride a bison as an epic mount. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It looks kind of comfy to ride on, actually.
I don't imagine they wouldn't. I think if
they look kind of like you could sleep on them. Like they look like fluffy.
They are fluffy, I think.
Yeah.
Their heads are definitely fluffy.
You would actually like it at the Brookfield Zoo. they have like a new like kids petting zoo area that you could actually go up and pet wallabies.
Oh, I love wallabies.
Yeah, there's like it's like an Australian pen, and there's wallabies and emus.
Emus.
And you could
Emus
actually
are
go
great.
up and pet the emu.
I gave there was a
I was
at some petting zoo with an emu, and I got this like seed in my hand, and like I was feeding the emu, and the emu was like pecking like being a fucking emu, and I was like, cool emu. And then another fucking emu like from a distance saw and like ran over, whacked the other emu with his head, and just fucking buried his fucking beak in my hand, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, the emus are terrifying.
Yeah, he was fucking. He just like was so mad. I was
least
like, why are you so mad, bro?
Apparently, emus are very nice in comparison to like ostriches.
Ostriches are fucking mean. Well, they're territorial. They don't want you near their shit.
Ostriches and cassowaries. Cassowaries are apparently like deadly.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like an emu, but it's got like a big stone, like not stone. It's got like a big bone thing outside.
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah. Anyway,
Then
so
I do know what that is.
We've barely talked about games. I think we talked about Warhammer Quest for like all of like 10-15 minutes and just anything else.
We talked about fucking animals.
Yeah, we did talk
And
about
getting fucked up by animals.
and getting our dicks eaten.
Yes, it's true.
So what have we learned today, Steve?
We've learned a lot.
Do we have any other gaming stuff to talk about? I know there's a
Pandemic Iberia is coming soon.
yeah, people love Pandemic.
Well, Iberia is really cool. It's a limited edition collector's version of Pandemic,
I have some
where
idea.
you're playing as historical people trying to stop a pandemic.
Yes.
So like they're shitty.
Yeah, isn't it like going to be like the Spanish flu or something like that? That's what it kind of looked like. to me.
I think it's malaria.
Oh, malaria.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah. Just don't build the Panama Canal and we'll be fine. Yeah.
Panama Canal. Pandemic. Illuminati confirmed.
No, the Titan Forge. We've boosted them a couple times on this podcast. I love their crap.
Yeah.
They do like they used to do back when fantasy was like a thing.
Yeah,
they would do
great alternate armies
for it. They changed it up a little bit, but they're doing like a cool samurai Kickstarter, like a fantasy samurai one. And they've been posting a couple of the models that are going to be on for that Kickstarter. And one of them is this like great like kabuki woman riding a giant fish. And I'm like, oh, that's just really cool looking. So
You can finally boost your clan war.
I could boost my clan war. Actually, I've been using Clan War. I've been building a small Saga army using Clan War figures because I figure why the fuck not?
Nice.
It's essentially would work the same rule set.
What are you going to use the Oni for?
I have so many Oni figures. Their Oni figures are pretty cool. Like they have the big sumo guys. I love those guys. But the take a look at that. Oh, no problem. What'd you get?
I think it's our Soylent.
Soylent Green?
There is actually a Soylent Green, but
Yeah.
this is not Soylent Green.
And like apparently the people who did Soylent that Soylent Green drink or whatever it is had no idea about like what the movie actually was. They just they heard like Soylent Green and like people knew about it. And so they're like, "Oh, let's just use this," and they didn't know that.
That's awesome.
I heard that's what I heard. I can't confirm. Cannot confirm.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because I didn't care enough to like dig deeper into it.
I'm doing some keto soy. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
keto. Is it pronounced keto?
Fuck if I know. I don't give a shit.
You're gonna go rapid weight loss.
We'll see.
You do the ketosis.
We'll see.
I got more power to you. I can't do it. I looked into it. I was like, meh. I'll just diet and exercise. I gotta start up on that again. Yeah. So what other gaming stuff? Anything? Do we know?
I mean, we could just go look. We could look at tabletop gaming news on our phone and pretend that we knew it already.
We can.
We just do that. Kids react to tabletop gaming news. That's what we're doing right now.
Oh,
We're gonna get sued by the Fine Brothers. Oh, they're already suing us.
Oh.
You did it!
We got sued by the Fine Brothers. It's over.
Yeah. So hold on. Let's maybe I could cut this part out. I fucking care.
New ships for. Oh no! I'm gonna straight up go down the line of tabletop gaming news.
You want to?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go. We're gonna do kids react to tabletop gaming news.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna do. We're the kids.
Fuck.
So first thing, Fantasy Flight Games previews Wave 4 ships for Star Wars Armada.
I can't believe that's still going.
I guess some people are into it, man. I don't know.
Well, no, people do love it. Yeah.
It is the interdictor. Looks like. I'm gonna confirm. It is an interdictor.
Let me
hey, I remembered that.
let me ask you this. So I'm assuming that since there's a capital class Star Destroyer that's going to be there. There's also a Mon Cal ship that's for the Rebellion.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more surprising news is that there's new Firestorm Armada kits.
I can't believe that game's still going.
I also cannot believe Firestorm Armada was going. I thought it shit all over itself and died.
No, that was Uncharted Seas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Corvus Belli shows off the new Onyx Contact Force for Infinity. Polar Bear, you spelled off wrong. You put Corvus Belli shows of the Onyx Contact Force for Infinity.
Oh man, he's never gonna live that down.
No,
not ever.
Battlefront previews the Leopard for Team Yankee. Team Yankee. A lot of people are playing that.
What the fuck
nowadays.
are the Onyx? They look like the Alephs.
I don't know what that even means.
I think Aleph's the name. They're post-human, like they're clones or some shit.
Oh.
They have they're the ones that have like the Greek hero characters that are like clones of the originals. Weird. Oh, they're for the Combine Army.
Oh.
I don't know, dude. Fucking Infinity is so goddamn messy. I don't know what any faction goes to any faction.
People love it.
Yeah, people like it. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's actually not a bad game. I've looked into it. It seems like a fun game. I can't do it. Battlefront previews Leopard for Team Yankee. So, good. We get to play West Germans now in World War III environment. Encounter Quest launches Patreon campaign. Patreon. Fuck Patreon.
Why you gotta be hating on Patreon?
I hate it.
Yeah? Is it because you don't have a Patreon and people don't want to give you money to do things?
It's true. If I did create furry art on a daily basis,
dude,
people
you
would
could
be
make
really,
some. You could make some.
big-
Well, no, actually,
I'd have to make furry pornography.
it would need to be
but-
good.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
there's a key there. There's one of the highest grossing people on Patreon is someone who does digital art of just other characters. They're like they're like really good.
Oh well,
But they're essentially selling other so this is a weird legal area where like people are like that's recently come up, and it's kind of I think it actually will apply to minis too. Is kind of all along the lines of Chapter House getting sued by Workshop is like what constitutes fan art? What are you allowed to do with fan art? You know what? Because so for example, the way this is worded, the way the Patreon is worded is like you give them Patreon money and they donate the artwork to you.
Yeah.
You're not purchasing the artwork.
yeah, that's the way that it works.
So you have this dude who's pulling in like I think the last time I looked because I thought it was so gross, it was like $29,000 a month.
Wow.
Doing things like pictures of fucking what's her name from Frozen.
Elsa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pictures of Elsa from Frozen, and like they're kind of anime-ish, but they're painting. They're digital paintings. So he just does digital paintings of existing characters, and is not actually producing content. Like there's no actual content there. It's just digital paintings of already existing characters, and giving that like mailing that art out.
I know that the way that it works at like comic conventions, like a lot of those artists who put stuff up, there's like the line is if they're creating an artwork of an existing character from like DC or Marvel like is okay with it. You could sell prints and stuff like that. Where they start getting you are breaking IP rules is like when you create comics with those characters.
Okay.
So like if you draw a picture of Superman, it's okay. If you have Superman in a comic book, then you have problems.
All right, I got you. They'll be like they'll raise their look at you.
Yeah, because I know like not Art Baltazar. He does this stuff for DC, but there's the guy who did this stuff for. He did a version of Justice League JL8, I think it was called, and it was like a little Justice League thing. He was doing like an online like webcomic of it. And because it was so popular, DC kind of looked the other way. But then he started making some like bank off of it, and then he got in trouble
They're like,
for it.
oh, hey.
And apparently he was like a huge dick and like sexually harassed people too.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna get sued because that's probably slander or something like that. But he had some like weird thing going on.
Actually, I
there.
don't think it counts if you say probably.
Oh, okay. So
I think yeah. If you say allegedly, probably, as long as you have something that does not make it a declarative statement, I believe you can argue that it was not slander because you said it was rumor. I just closed that it was rumor. So
if I say like the dude has octopus tentacles for feet, I could be slandered because it's not true.
right.
Yeah.
But if you said I've heard that this guy has octopus tentacles for feet, so people have said, not slander.
I heard Rick Priestley has octopus tentacles for feet.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Not slander.
Okay,
you're
cool,
safe.
cool.
Rick Priestley and his octopus tentacle feet will not strangle you in the
His
night.
octopodes feet.
His octopodes feet. Octopi.
That would be the weirdest thing ever if you met Rick Priestley and he had octopus legs, octopus tentacles for legs.
Oh, I was going to say, like, what if his feet were just octopuses?
Oh, that'd be even weirder.
Just like-
I was imagining more like what's her face from The Little Mermaid.
Ursula?
Ursula
Yes,
from Little Mermaid.
now I'm imagining Rick Priestley hanging from your roof. And you or your ceiling, and you look up, and like there's just two octopuses holding onto the ceiling, and they're connected to his legs.
Oh, that's even cooler.
Yeah, and you're like, "What's happening?" And then he just grabs you and brings you to his brings you to a watery grave.
Is he a Cthulhu? Is he like a?
I guess he's a deep one.
Deep one.
I guess Rick Priestley confirmed deep one.
Yes,
You've heard it here first.
You've heard it here first. Now, you know what I'm gonna do with this last few minutes that we got here? I'm gonna pimp a couple local businesses. One is the place I go get my haircut out in Batavia, Illinois. It's called Beards Guard. They are fucking fantastic, and like my barber is like a huge Lovecraft / Doctor Who fan. I know the Doctor Who thing doesn't mean much to you. Loves Lovecraft, and it's like you go there and it's one of the few times I've ever gone to a barbershop where I've enjoyed it. This is why I constantly go. It costs a little bit more than like most barbershops. Like you can get a decent haircut.
Well, it's a barbershop.
Yeah,
So, barbershops cost more. They're also really uncommon.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I used to go to like maybe a Great Clips and it would cost me $12
Right.
at a
And
haircut.
I would never refer to that as a barbershop.
No. But I go to this place and this guy, it costs like, close to $30, but I never have to talk about sports with the guy. Like we talk about stuff like Cthulhu and Lovecraft and Doctor Who and comic books. And it's like, this is everything that I've wanted in a barbershop.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I just shaved my head in the bathroom.
I used to do that, and then like I found these guys, and they were like, "No, we could actually give you a haircut and like trim your beard and make you look like a decent human being." I'm like, "Thank you so much." And then there's this place out in Mount Prospect. I just found out about the
Tokens and Tankards?
Yeah, Tokens and Tankards. It's a restaurant.
It's a barcade.
Yeah, it's a barcade.
Those things, barcades are like the new.
But it looks more like tabletop-y than an actual arcade.
It's same difference. Like there's
Half a dozen on one, 6 the other.
Right. There's barcades that are opening up everywhere that are either. They're called they're Gastro-Cades if it's board games. They're barcades if it's
Beer.
tabletop games.
Oh, tabletop. Okay.
Damn it, no.
You got the switch it around.
Barcade is coin-op.
Yeah.
And Gastro-Cade is tabletop.
Okay.
That's what people are usually. That's usually the distinction.
Okay, I've never heard Gastro-Cade before.
That is
I'll
like
take your word for it.
that is the big thing that is popping up. Well, because it's based off a gastropub.
Yeah.
But you call it a Gastro-Cade.
Okay.
So like the barcades are usually more focused on the drinks
Yeah.
and arcade games. But I digress. It's like a ridiculous, pointless distinction. That is the new pop-up business that's happening everywhere. Like that is like the new trendy thing that's like if there's probably one opening right now. Like there's probably one opening across the street right now.
Yeah.
There's a couple hipsters with fucking crocheted scarves and giant thick glasses.
I have a crocheted scarf.
Yeah, because you're a fucking hipster.
No, because my wife made me one. I never wear scarves, but I have one.
So crocheted scarves, giant thick glasses, and like the other one's wearing an ascot, and they're both holding some micro. One's got a microbrew IPA, and the other one's got a PBR, and they're talking about how sweet their Gastro-Cade is going to be. That's happening right now across the street.
I never really understood like because I've seen places do like the board game coffee house thing where they have like board games at the coffee house. I've never really understood like how that makes any money. Like it just doesn't seem like it would make that much money.
Well, that's the thing. It's an entertainment business model. So you're gonna get to charge people probably a percentage more on every item they buy, and it might not even be a lot. It could be just like say 5% more than an average bar, and you're providing that entertainment factor. So you're gonna get people who are gonna stay. The idea is it's just like at a cocktail lounge like in the 80s when they had all of those cocktail arcade cabinets where people sit and play Pac-Man on the cocktail tables.
That's true, yeah.
Because the longer people are sitting in your restaurant or your bar or wherever you are, the longer people stay and they're entertained, the more drinks they're going to order, the more apps they're going to order.
But that's like the thing with coffee. That's a little like when you're drinking alcohol, at least you might lose track of like how much you're drinking. But I mean, coffee, it's like you could have only so many coffees.
I think for the coffee house angle, that's more of like a rather than a sustained idea like with the bar or the food, it's more of like your angle to like cut in against Starbucks and other competitors. Like, hey, get your espresso here and play a game of Magic against a dude. That's an idea.
And a lot of people meet at coffee houses
That's true.
That's true. It's a good date thing.
It's a good neutral meetup place too. Also, just for like a game meetup, it's a good neutral place because you don't have to worry about anyone drinking.
And I could also sell secrets to the Soviet Union there.
The Soviet Union.
Das comrade. Easy on the comrade there, sir.
You can, that's a great neutral meeting place because like there's no alcohol there, so like no one is.
Yeah,
that there's people like who can't drink, so then they might feel uncomfortable, or there's people who shouldn't be drinking who will make other people feel uncomfortable when they're drinking. So it's a great neutral spot to meet up.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of the restaurant thing. I don't know, like I can't think of like a good game that I couldn't like that I would want to have there. I mean, like beercades are okay. I just don't like the coin like Galloping Ghost has spoiled me on that. I would rather just spend $10, $15 flat and play unlimited.
Most of them have free play. Like from what I understand, like most of the games are on free play.
Not in the city of Chicago. Trust me, I've been to a couple of them, and it's like first of all, things that bother me.
They're gonna fucking rake every last dime out of your pockets in Chicago.
I've talked about this with Pat. And I think I know I've talked about this with you. I used to work in an arcade. That was my thing in the 90s. I worked in an arcade. Every stand-up arcade that came out in the 90s, I played, and I'm pretty good at. Time Crisis being the best.
I love Time Crisis.
The original Time Crisis. I was nationally ranked on the first Time Crisis.
Nice.
Back before, like, we actually had a big book that we printed out
That's awesome.
that had like national ranking scores for games, and so like I was nationally ranked.
That's awesome.
For a bit, and but. There's certain things that annoy me. Like if I go to an arcade and I see a cabinet is not calibrated right, it pisses me off to no end because it takes no effort to calibrate your cabinet correctly. And like the fact that like the Star Wars arcade game, the one where you got the stick and you're going through the different levels, that one tends to get uncalibrated quite. You have to calibrate it at least once every 2 weeks, or else it's gonna.
That's one of the things I love about the Ghosts. Like they don't fuck around. Like if one of their games isn't working properly, it's off.
Yeah,
like it is off. Like no matter like whatever it was, if there was something wrong with it, it's off.
Well, I mean, like a lot of the newer games, you calibrate through like an actual screen.
Right.
Older ones, you have to like it's a little more complicated. Like you have to actually make sure the wires and connections are working properly and everything like that, and the joystick's working properly. So a lot of times it doesn't work exactly right, but like I'll give them a slight bit of advantage on that because you actually have to have someone who knows what they're doing with that. But something like the Star Wars arcade game or like some of the Street Fighter cabinets, like the newer ones, those do not take a lot to calibrate. Like fucking fix that. And the fact that arcade cabinets cost more than $0.25 annoy the shit out of me in this day and age. If I'm going to play a game, I don't want to play a game that costs me $2 that I'm only going to get to play for like 2 minutes.
I always liked the ranking system. Like for even when I was little, like a kid, I remember like your coin op was $0.25, racing games were usually $2, and environmental games were $3. So the ones where you like go into something, like Afterburner, that was $0.75 because you're in the fucking thing that moves around. And that, but you know what? That's a very way to the danger zone. That's a very structured and sensical way to do it. Yeah. But later on, they started doing it based on how new the game was.
Yeah.
So you'd have a coin op for 25 cents next to a coin op for $1, and it's like these are what? Give me fucking quarter.
It was actually a good, really cool environmental one to play. Not many places had it. We had it. It was the Jurassic Park: The Lost World video game where you get the guns
and you sit in the Jeep.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome! So great.
Yeah,
and I've never seen it anywhere. And I've never seen it anywhere really. And back when I played the arcade, I used to play for free because I was a tech, so I would sit there and I would play through it, the entire thing, and like the end thing, we were fighting the 2 T-Rex. Oh, so fun! But aside from that, I like the idea of. I also like the idea that it's really close to Games Plus, and I think that's probably part of the reason they chose it there. It's like one of the biggest gaming destinations in Chicagoland area. Mm-hmm. It's a perfect place to put that there, especially with board games or RPGs or something like that. I've always found that one of the biggest. It's not a liability because most places don't. Most gaming stores don't mind you bringing in alcohol. You just have to be like really sly about it.
Yeah, some do. I mean, you want to. There's a really difficult, or not difficult. There's a really fine line between running a game store that's a game store or a clubhouse.
Yeah,
and I think you'll everyone who's listening has been to a store that's a game store and a game store that's a clubhouse.
Yeah.
And as if you have a clubhouse that's lasted more than a year, that is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
The clubhouses are the ones where like it's the dude in the fucking back playing, Magic with his friends smoking cigarettes, and someone walks in and like just like looks around the store, and like you're sitting there like, maybe looking at a model or whatever, and you watch this person walk in, look around, look at the store, look to see if anyone's there, and then just leave.
Yeah.
Like that's a clubhouse.
They take like a whole pack of cards and leave.
Yeah, that's a clubhouse. There's game stores where they're greeted, there's employees, or they're working. Clubhouses are where dudes want to stay and dick around with their buddies all day, and that's just not a business.
Yeah. No, and definitely that's the thing is like, but like for most games, kind of I always don't like to drink, but like for RPGs, I like to have like a beer or something like that. I think it loosens people up a little bit when they're playing. Or you get a couple. You get your sodas and everything like that. But
I've done a lot of drinking and RPGing and not drinking and RPGing, and I find I do enjoy drinking when I RPG. Well, I haven't had a drink in a very long time, but I always did enjoy drinking while doing RPGs. But there is a very difficult to spot line where you fall into sloppiness.
Oh yeah.
And then it's kind of like, what did we do? It's like I don't even know.
Yeah, you gotta be real careful with that.
Yeah.
All right. So that's about it for today. We actually went over good. We actually talked about gaming stuff.
We did.
Yay! I was like, all I have to talk about is how much I hate Silver Tower. Let's come up with something else. So anyway, go to planetarbitrary.com for your Planet Arbitrary needs. You can follow me on Twitter at Planet Arbitrary. You can follow Steve at
Play on Steve.
Like the Facebook page /Game Classy Podcast. Where we talk about stuff. It's you make fun of the British people. I make fun of the British people. Steve talks about Gundams, stuff like that.
I like Gundams.
Did you see the anime Uno thing I posted?
Yeah,
that thing's hysterical.
I'm really glad that they did a good job translating it to animated.
Yeah,
mostly animated because that's a super old Imager webcomic, but the fucking voice acting they did was actually pretty close to professional, and they had the cadences right. Like,
yeah, that's what I thought was hysterical.
Everything about that was fucking perfect.
Like when I think of like a card game anime, that's what I think about.
Yeah, that's the thing that's funny about that is that the reason that joke works really well and it's really funny if you've seen card game anime is because that's literally how they're structured. Because there's extremely dramatic moments happening while you're playing a card game that's like it's usually like the fate of the world is on the line while you're playing a card game, and like people are using cards and they explain the cards, it's like the draw two is like that allows them to draw two more cards this hand, like that's the thing of card game anime. So a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh was the biggest one because Yu-Gi-Oh features a lot of people playing the card game where it's like two people playing the card game and then people watching the people play the card game. Like, I can't believe like he's in such a strong position, that's in all the card game anime. There's always like the like other characters who like look in, they're like, oh, he's doing pretty good.
I think someone commented, I think it was Rob Hawkins, was just like the only way that he'll be able to win is if he fails to say Uno on his last card. Then he'll have to pull two more cards.
Yep, yeah, that would be like an epic moment where like he distracts the guy, and then like the guy's just like, and he passes, and he's like, and then he realizes like, no, yeah, and that lets him pull out the clutch win because he distracted the other guy.
Yeah. And so the best way you can help out the podcast is like, comment, subscribe on iTunes. You give us 5-star review and tell us we're terrible. As long as we get the 5 stars, I'm okay. You could. And actually, there was another review that was posted on there, I think by the same guy. I think the same guy reviewed us twice. Is that at all possible? I don't know. He gave us 2 1-star reviews.
Nice.
I was just like, this dude really hates us. Like, how much do you have to really hate a podcast to give it 2 1-star reviews?
Yes.
I was like, at that point, I was just like, I kind of want to meet this guy. Like,
well, there was someone, one of the biggest board game store owners in the country was talking about how his reviews on his business are all 5 stars or 1 star.
Yeah.
He's like, there is no in between. He's like people either love you or they hate you. And hopefully you have a lot more 5 stars than 1 stars.
Yeah, which we do, and I appreciate. It's just I'm always just like,
but I think that's good. Like I'd rather be known as a 5 or 1 star than being known as a 3 star.
Yeah.
I'd rather be universally reviled as like a terrible thing, or like everyone just like, this is the best.
Yeah.
Like,
which is, I think, that's our podcast as a whole.
But I think that's a big issue, or not issue, but that's a big thing with pop culture at the moment, and like every facet of gaming, movies, comics, pop culture in general is just like the hyperbole is everywhere. And like with video games, it's super bad, and like movies super bad. Everything is either the best or the worst.
You're the best around.
And you know, like I make fun of it all the time, but like the review score where it's like 9.5 out of 10, it was okay. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like slow it down, people. Like,
yeah,
you know.
So you, the other place you can look at our podcast is on the Game Classy Podcast YouTube page, where it's essentially just an image and our voices over it. So I mean, nothing fancy. Listen on iTunes, get our numbers up. So other podcasts you can listen to the Play On Podcast, aka Pat's Retro Video Game Review Podcast, where Steve and Pat talk about video games. What do you talk about tomorrow?
I don't know yet.
You can talk about
We'll
Uncharted.
probably be talking about Doom.
Doom. Dude.
Dude, that video is so great. I fucking laughed my ass off when I saw that.
You know, as I say,
Dude, ever talk to me or my son again?
I don't understand like a lot of those memes, but every time I see like this Mr. Skeletal with the dude, it makes me laugh. Like the new one that's going around with Here Come Dat Boy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like,
oh shit, what up?
I don't get it. Like, what is it? Where's this from?
There's actually a really great old man response meme to that of like basically being like, you know, back in my day, memes used to mean something. They were clever inside jokes that you really had to know. Now it's just random crap, and like the kids are like, "Oh shit, what up?"
Yeah, I don't get it at all. That's me. That's me.
You know why that's a meme? Like this is why that one's a meme. And why it's not an inside joke. I'll explain. It's very quick and easy. Someone made that Photoshop image of that fucking frog, and they just put "Here Come Dat Boy," and someone responding going, "Oh shit, what up?" And like someone thought that was really funny, so they just.
It just took off.
Yeah, you know, that's a classic viral meme of just like, because it's so ridiculous. It's a fucking really bad CG frog on a unicycle.
Yeah, it does. I actually had to I spent time looking up where it's from because I've seen it pop up so often. I was just like, and it's not from anywhere. I'm like, God damn, I'm fucking kids.
And there's so many great. They're like the thing I really love meme wise, like the dankest of memes to me. Are the meme fusions.
Oh.
So there's there's one where it's Pepe reading a book and it says reasons to live, and it's got the frog and it says "Here come that boy," and then it's got Pepe like looking wistfully, and then the last panel is him like smiling with a tear in its eye, and it says "Oh shit, what up?" like that thing, that's funny to me. Like when the worlds collide, like that's what I like.
Well, it's like. I think I saw one that had the old Mr. Frog and Mr. Toad, Mr. Frog, and they're riding the bicycle together. And he goes, "Here comes that gentleman." And it says, "Oh my, how you doing?" It's just like, it's stupid. I don't get it. Like, what's the whatever?
It's awesome.
But whatever. If the kids like it, they like it. I can't complain.
And there's also Hold Up, We Dem Boys.
Yeah, Hold Up, We Dem Boys.
Yeah.
So another podcast you can listen to is Comic Book Logic. We talked about that earlier, where we talk about comic book movies, dissect them, talk about them, rank them, all that fun stuff, go into the history of the comic books. It's a little bit of a tour de force when it comes to comic book movies. We're going to be doing X-Men Apocalypse. We just did Captain America Civil War. You could find us on Facebook at the Comic Book Logic podcast, and you can also find them on iTunes as well, just like you can with Play On. And that's about it. So, Steve, until next time.
Not so fast, Kaiba. You've activated my trap card.
Game Classy.